Press to go live on YouTube. Move that over a bit. All right. And I'm just telling everybody we're live in a couple different places. Oh, wrong place to share, but that's okay. View post, Twitter. There we go. So what's going on, Trevor? How you been?
I've been good. I mean, I'm a little bit sick right now, but aside from that, I'm fine. You know what? You know when kids go to school, all of a sudden they come back home with everything. Yeah, that's what happened to me. So my voice is a little froggy here, and I may have a coughing fit in the middle of our conversation, but we'll see.
Yeah, and if you can just take a space, cough away, and then take a space and start up again, it would be much easier for me when I'm editing.
Hmm.
Okay, let me make sure we got everything in the right pages. I'm just getting our my questions and everything up. Welcome, people who are joining us. It's great to see you. I see Tejas in the chat room here, and we're just about to get started. So, how you handling the winter?
Oh, this snow was a little bit of a drag, but I mean it was fine. We we had to shovel a few times, but I mean the plow come when they come by, they don't leave as much snow on the side as it does in some of the city areas, so it wasn't too horrible. I know that some people hate when the snow plows come by and take your driveway, and I'll put all that snow at the end of your driveway, and it's like I just shoveled that, man. But yeah, we don't have that much of a problem here. But I'm loving the fact that snow is starting to melt right now. I don't know if this is going to get rid of all of the snow, but I'll finally be able to get our Christmas decorations off the lawn because they kind of got buried under it.
Ah, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, we were a little
Yeah,
late in getting them off the ground, and all of a sudden they're now buried under 2 feet of snow.
we always got to complain about the weather here in Canada,
Hmm.
or at least talk about it because it's one of our number one topics of conversation.
True, true, true.
All right. Is this Well, I might as well ask when we're ready here. Are you ready?
Oh, I was born ready, man.
You were born ready. All right.
You don't get any more ready than me right now, man.
Welcome back to Startup Talk. I'm your host, the startup coach, founder of TorontoStarts, one of the largest startup communities in Canada. And with me today is Trevor Shorte from TechAlliance of Southwestern Ontario to talk about their Elevator Entrepreneurship program. Welcome, Trevor.
Hello, and it's actually Elevate Entrepreneurship that we were talking about today.
What did I say?
Elevator.
Did I
Because
say
we were
elevator?
we were talking about elevator pitches earlier, which is more
Okay.
likely why that
Well, I'm going to
happened.
do that again. I'm sorry for that. If I said elevator, let's do that again. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we were just talking about elevator pitches. I apologize.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Welcome back to Startup Talk. I'm your host, the startup coach, founder of TorontoStarts, one of the largest startup communities in Canada. And with me today is Trevor Shorte from TechAlliance of Southwestern Ontario to talk about their Elevate Entrepreneurship program. Welcome, Trevor.
Hey man, how's it going? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. And um, tell me about the Elevate Entrepreneurship program.
Well, actually, for starters, I want to tell you a little bit about Tech Alliance first. So you guys can kind of understand how this kind of came about. So, Tech Alliance is part of a network of regional innovation centers in Ontario that helps launch new startups and accelerate growth for established tech companies. We do that through like our venture growth innovation team. We have like early stage incubation, and we have Grow Accelerator or Accelerator, which we call Grow, to help entrepreneurs. The idea is that we want Ontario-based entrepreneurs to be able to accelerate their growth and be able to compete both locally and globally with their businesses. You've actually probably heard already about the Regional Innovation Center network, because like Mars in Toronto is part of it, and Communitech in Kitchener. I'm sure you guys have probably heard of those. So we're all in the same network, and we do basically the same thing. TechAlliance is based out of the London area, so we do London and the surrounding areas, and we do our part to help fuel the Canada's innovation economy and fueling growth in that. And so with that in mind, we decided one day, and by we I mean this happened a little bit before I had joined, but the idea was that we wanted to have a program that supported BIPOC and women-led entrepreneurs, and being able to give them the ability to and knowledge to launch a business and learn how to scale it. And that's kind of how Elevate Entrepreneurship was born. And so we partnered with Fanshawe College, and excuse me. And essentially what we've created is a no-cost micro-certification course that you get in entrepreneurship. And then plus you also get all of those supports available from TechAlliance that we give to all of our other entrepreneurs who we work with.
When did the program start?
So we had opened up for applications last December, and started our first ever cohort, because this is the first ever time this has actually been done in Ontario. Our first ever cohort started a few weeks ago at the second week of January.
Is it in person, online, a mixture of both?
Well, because of the pandemic, and like most things, everything is virtual. So we were doing everything online. It's 5 weeks where you do asynchronous learning, so you can do like self-guided learning, and then you get virtual live sessions with keynote speakers and stuff like that we would do throughout the time, in peer networking groups and things like that.
Always have to ask are you live, hybrid, what? It's COVID, you never know.
I mean, I guess you could call it hybrid, but I mean, there was never really any. Well, actually, the speakers, they were teaching, so yeah, I guess you could call it a hybrid.
It's nice with this option to do live stuff and record it so people can come back later at the same time and whatnot. And
Yes, that's
so,
exactly what happened. Yeah, that is what happened.
what do you look for in entrepreneurs applying for the program?
Well, see, because this was the first time ever that we were doing something like this, we wanted to make sure that we wanted to talk to founders who had some really good ideas, but just didn't have the time and space to be able to execute that, and also the knowledge to be able to make that happen. And so really, it just, if you have a good idea, we want to hear about it, and that's pretty much how we looked at our applications when they came in.
And what stage of businesses and startups and what sectors do you work with in the program?
So at TechAlliance, we work more so with startups and scale-ups in various stages. Most of them are in the tech sector, though. So like some are just kind of getting off the ground. Others are kind of just looking to dive into their first seed round, whereas some of the others are like looking at now in the seed rounds B and C, so some maybe even D, right? Excuse me. So for Elevate, the applicants that we eventually ended up accepting into the program, though, were really more so in the idea validation, early stage, like initial market traction type thing. So they were still very, very early stages for them. And, the fact that they're in that particular area, we find that those are the ones that need the most help. And so it's always good for us to be able to really help point them in the right direction and give them the tools that they need. As I'm sure you can appreciate, the pandemic the last 2 years has created all kinds of disruption in the area, in the world, and people were started thinking about how do I pivot? What am I going to do next? What's the next thing that I'm going to do? And so, for those who just had this idea that was kind of, mulling around in the back of their head, and they're just like, you know what, I think now might be the time for me to try to execute this and actually see if I can put this out there and get it done. And I find that those types of the people were really attracted to this program.
How many entrepreneurs in a cohort?
So we were initially looking to do 60, so 3 groups of 20. It didn't quite work out to get there, but we got almost as it was just shy of that at the end. But so we split them up into basically 3 groups, and then we did what we did was specifically every night for 5 weeks. So the first group went every Tuesday, the second group went every Wednesday, third group went every Thursday. And what we would do is we make sure that they'd have their regular keynotes every week. Every week would be a different topic. So we would deliver some content on the LMS system for them to be able to digest for that week. And then we'd have somebody coming in to talk about that content and kind of help them work through that, so that when they do the assignments and are able to complete the assignments, they have a little bit more context around the content that they're learning.
What types of startups or entrepreneurs are not a good fit for your program?
This is an interesting question, because technically it's not so much as type, but more so location. Because we are funded as a company by the government of Ontario, right? So we really can only support Ontario-based businesses. And it's interesting because when we had started advertising for applications, the word actually got out across the country. We actually received applications from one end of the country to the other. We received at least half a dozen from BC, Alberta, Maritimes, Quebec, and unfortunately we had to turn all of them away because they had to be Ontario-based businesses. So we definitely know that the programming like this is needed across the country, but for us it was just we could only really work with those in Ontario. And then from a size perspective, there were a couple who were interested in learning more about it, but after talking to them, realized that maybe they'd be better off in our Grow Accelerator program, because the content that we were creating for Elevate was really more geared towards the early stage companies, and they were kind of past that part. So it would be better for them to go into something that would help them move further along the line faster than they were for the early stage companies that we were ended up working with.
What type of training do you provide?
Well, in terms of training, it's really more along the lines of education, right? So we do, for this particular program, the training was done in their weekly live sessions that we did, right? And we have various different types of experiences, events that we call events or experiences. We call them both. It's really, they're really both the same thing. An experience is an event, right? And so where you can learn about, IP, where you can learn about marketing, where you can learn about any various different topics regarding to building a business. HR, we have all of them on our events page, actually on our TechAlliance website. So you could just go and sign up for any of our events and go to them. Some of them are paid, some of them are free, but that's the type of training that we want to have for entrepreneurs, to be able to help them do what it is that they need to do. Because for a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't know what they don't know, right? And so we want to be able to teach them as much as we can as possible to help them grow.
What is the primary goal of the Elevate Entrepreneurship program and TechAlliance?
Well, at TechAlliance, our primary goal is actually pretty simple. We want to be that vital resource for innovators and entrepreneurs across Southwestern Ontario. Full stop. That is our sole purpose in life. All right. And with Elevate, we wanted to kind of take that a step further, where we wanted to be able to offer the supports and services that we offer, but do that for underrepresented groups. BIPOC and women-led founders, they don't get a lot of love when it comes to these types of things. It's one of those things where a lot of them don't even know that these supports are available to them. And so we wanted to make sure that we could address some of those gaps that they face when they're trying to look at starting these businesses. So we actually partnered with a few great organizations in Ontario, the Black Entrepreneurship Program, No Kwe, which is which is an Indigenous group that handles employment opportunities for Indigenous folks and women in communications and technology. And the idea was to create an experience for these founders that they can actually see and hear and learn from people who share their lived experiences, and from people who look like them. And I'm a firm believer in that. If people are able to see others doing things that they want to do that look like them, they're more apt to try to achieve that and be able to go after that because they think that it's possible for them too.
Yeah, have you ever been out to our startup drinks event and see the eyes light up in the room after hearing a few pitches and people think they can come up and just looking around the room at all the diversity when people think, hey, maybe I can do that. That's why, I always went around the room to try and ask everybody and push them to pitch. Doesn't matter what you're here for, pitch your business. If you're looking for a job, pitch what you do. If you're starting a startup, pitch what your idea is or how far you are. Um, and just giving them the opportunity and seeing that and seeing that there's other people like them and all of a sudden they're communicating and they have friends and they're yeah, entrepreneurship is a slog and people who have 9 to 5 jobs don't understand it.
Well, there are those who actually have 9 to 5 jobs and trying to do the side hustle, and it can become quite taxing from a just a straight up business perspective. Because starting a business, and I've told this to we've talked about this on many occasions before. Selling something to somebody and getting them to buy it if you're doing it on the side is great, but if you actually want to turn that into a business, that is hard. That takes work. And that is not something that you can just do overnight, right? And the amount of work that it takes to do that, you need a lot of support around you. And so you need to be able to find a network or the people who can help you do that, vendors, suppliers, whatever. Somebody's going to be able to help you frame all those things that you're trying to do. One of the beautiful things that has come out of this Elevate program is the the support of all the individual cohorts. They've literally on their own created like their own Facebook groups to be able to maintain some type of connection to each other, right? Because they're all in the same boat, right? This is the thing. They've now created a network of their own peers. One of the girls actually in the group last night, she referred to her as her girl gang because they've got this group of women who just decided that they wanted to band together to try to navigate this world of being an entrepreneur and support each other, be there for each other, and offer encouragement, right? So it is one of those things that just I didn't expect it to happen, and obviously I didn't expect it to happen because I didn't really know it was going to happen because we never done this before. But I'm really happy to see that it did.
It really is nice to see those relationships that go beyond the classroom when you're putting
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs together like this. And the discovery they have when you're struggling with the same problems I'm struggling with
Mm-hmm.
and having the right thing to talk to, and what are your ideas. Maybe you're 6 months ahead of me and you've already solved this problem, and in a 2-minute conversation it can save me 6 months of work. uh,
Mm-hmm.
like this just kind of stuff just happens magically. And the types of connections and those types of relationships are from a 5-8 week course is long lasting and is incredible to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
What are some of the things you do to support startups and entrepreneurs?
So at TechAlliance, we really just have a network of growth coaches, and we call them EIRs, entrepreneurs in residence, where you can reach out to, you can get advice from, you can book a meeting with me or any of the other growth coaches at at TechAlliance, and we'll be able to help walk you through whatever issues that you have. And the beautiful part about what it is that we do is if we don't know an answer to the question, we probably know somebody who does. And that's the beautiful part about our ecosystem, is that everybody is willing to be able to help or refer you to somebody who can help you. The other thing is, we were just talking about this, where you have an opportunity to network with your peers. So we put you in situations where you get opportunities to do that, right? And you can go to some of our webinars or master classes and learn from some of the best in the business, right? And then the other thing that we try to make sure that we cover as well, is because this is a very hot topic for a lot of startups, is how do I get money to do what it is that I need to do? So we can help you with, figuring out how you're going to get investment, figuring out how you're going to do grants, figuring out where you're going to get that influx of cash from, if that's something that you need, figuring out what your IP strategy is going to be. That's also an important thing for a lot of people, specifically ones who are manufacturing things, right? IP is a big deal. So, these are the types of things that we want to help these businesses with, and help them understand why it's important to do these things, but then also help them execute it.
Yeah, that's all, crucial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the benefits of startups going through your program?
Well, I mean, I'm the type of person to say, well, you get to work with me. I mean, that's one of the things that I always say. It's like we've got a really great group of individuals. I'm blessed and honored to be able to work with these people, because really, I'm not kidding when I say their sole purpose in life is to help businesses be better and succeed. That is it. We don't have any other mission. That's our sole mission, right? We just want to see you succeed. And honestly, if what we're doing isn't helping you succeed, I know from my perspective, you start to feel bad. It's like, okay, you know what? I don't know what it is that I'm doing wrong here. You think you really feel it personally. It's like, my goal is to help you win and make you better. And if that's not happening, then I'm doing something wrong. Right. So, that's the kind of mindset that we have here. It's like, we really want to make sure that everybody is getting better and building a business. And, I've always likened it to saying, when we're helping people doing this, we're really literally changing their lives. Right. So, we at education is really a key pillar of what it is that we do. And giving them this education is something that people, nobody can take away knowledge from your head, right? So the more knowledge you have, the better it is, right? So if we were able to give people, specifically, and I'm talking now about Elevate, a high level look at all the aspects that you're going to need to be able to build and scale your business, right? And now you're able to take that knowledge and start to implement some of those things into your business, and those things start to work. You're going to start to see exponential growth, right? And the idea is that you get this education, and I like to call this a fancy micro certification. Micro certifications are really just fancy little diplomas, basically, you get for completing a course of some sort, right? LinkedIn has kind of really jumped on this bandwagon, with those LinkedIn courses, and then they give you a fancy badge after you've completed it. The same principle, right? And so, this micro certification means that you officially have learned about entrepreneurship, right? And then when you tie that in with all the supports that you get from TechAlliance, right? You've now got as I was making a joke about in a meeting one day, it's like, you get the best of both worlds, right? And it kind of ended up being something that we're really trying to live up to, because you're joining an incubator and you get this micro certification, and now you've got the best of both worlds to be able to go forth and conquer, right? And I think there's nothing more important than something like that for entrepreneurs as they're just getting started.
And just an FYI, I've heard nothing but good things about the Tech Alliance and their programs that they put on. I've been interviewing startups for our new Who Are These Startups podcast, and there's been rave things about, hey, Tech Alliance is great. Specifically, Marlo and Nadia Ladak from Marlo gave rave reviews of the people at Tech Alliance and helping them get going. So thank you for supporting the startups in the ecosystem and helping them, because it's been great. What happens after the program? Mentorship, community, networking, funding support, tracking metrics of success. There's so many things.
So is this one of those questions where you answer the question as you're asking it? Seriously, dude, all of those things you just said, that's what happens. So, I mean, they get access to all of our growth coaches, me and everybody else, from a mentorship perspective. They have the community, the TechAlliance community to work within, the networking opportunities, helping them to get their funding support. I'm actually trying to figure out how we can do a funding session with with somebody. I haven't really worked out all the details about that yet, but looking to really find a way to do that. Our IP sessions were a real big hit, and we're looking to do some more, because there's a lot they need to know about that type of thing, and there's way more that we could have covered in a 2-hour nightly session. So we're thinking about doing something additional on top of that. Yeah, I mean, really, whatever support they need, we will try to provide, and that's the goal here. We just want to help people succeed. So yeah.
Reach out to me afterwards. We'll talk about, if you need investors or whatever to help you through your funding session.
Well,
I'm
I
happy to connect
think,
you.
yeah, I think the stage that they're at right now, it's really more along the lines of more grants than investors.
I can help you there too. So
Yeah,
I've got
because
the connections.
the grants programs are easier for them to work with, simply because of the fact that with the stages they're at, investors, they're not investor ready yet. In this specific cohort of Elevate, they're not investor ready yet, the majority of them.
Okay, we'll talk after. Can you tell us
Cool.
about some of the business or people in your program?
Well, not without killing my NDA. Um, I can tell you that there's a lot of different businesses that we've got coming in the mix here. Some are looking at agri-tech opportunities. Some are looking at more e-commerce for for retail products. We've got a couple doing some really good service-based things, ideas. One is doing a healthcare opportunity, online healthcare opportunity. What else? Health and wellness. There's a lot. There's a couple who are into how the situation with long-term care facilities started to become a thing, specifically that came to a head throughout the pandemic. There's a couple who are thinking of some really great ideas around how to make that better. Fantastic. And start their own type thing. We've got a couple of others who are really just looking at how to make life easier for others. There's one in the food tech business as well. So there's a whole range of different things that people are trying to do. One of the people that we ended up talking to, but figured that they were a little bit further ahead for it. They are actually a dog food brand that sells over e-commerce, and they're actually been doing so well. They actually were able to get themselves a shot at Dragon's Den. So, I mean, I'm like, why did you guys sign up? I think you're a little further ahead than where you need to be here for this. I think he just wanted the certificate though. But yeah, I mean, we've got a whole host of different ideas and companies that are trying to do this. One guy was actually into finance, building a finance aggregator site. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff happening. And for me, I get to just listen, and I don't know if I mentioned to you, we're doing some pitches this week. This week is pitch week, and so when we first met them on the first day of the cohort, I asked everybody to introduce themselves to their group and kind of just give us a little bit of a rundown of your business. And the difference between what they did the first day versus what they did yesterday, or yesterday and Monday, night and day. The growth and the change in what it is that they're doing, and it warms my heart. Let's just say.
Yeah, I'm glad. Pitching is so important. The more practice you get, the better. Next week is our pitch week basically because we're doing pitch school and we're doing investor speed dating, which you might want to mention to your class because it's a free event. They can meet experts on grants, loans, and tax credits one on one, as well as investors. So just another thing for anybody listening. Just wanted to mention that because it's timely. And the following week is our startup pitch battle. Now,
Mhm.
you and I have been in the community for a long time. I don't know how long we've known each other, 4, 5, 6 years. I,
But
I,
that
I lose I lose count.
one of those numbers.
Yeah, in there somewhere. Uh, can you tell us about resources or communities you'd recommend?
I guess it really depends on what you're looking for. I mean, obviously, resources from my perspective, TechAlliance is always a good resource. I mean, you can't argue with that. Um, I mean, it really depends on the what it is what you're looking for, what you're trying to do, right? I mean, if you're if you're in the Toronto area, look up any one of the regional innovation centers. If you got a tech business, look up any one of the regional innovation centers. Try to see if you can get in on what they're doing, because we they share our events through their networks as well. So I mean, you could get on to a TechAlliance event through one of our regional innovation centers. The other thing I'd obviously want to look at is, I mean, obviously TorontoStarts. I mean, everybody knows that they should be
Thank
looking
you.
at TorontoStarts, right? But the for me, it's really just about trying to find the right place for you to get the information you're looking for. And if that place doesn't have it, find somewhere else. There's tons of them in the city, in the province. A simple Google search will take you in the right direction, typically. But I mean, for my money, obviously, and I'm obviously biased because we're friends, but TorontoStarts is the first place I would look.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we try to help push people in the right direction because there's so many startup resources that different uh, that are good for different people, different stages, food,
Mm-hmm.
tech, this, that, the other thing. So yeah, if you don't know, ask, join us, talk to you, talk to whoever. Do you have any tips for entrepreneurs?
Tips.
Yes.
My first biggest tip is don't give up. This is going to be the hardest thing that you'll ever experience in your entire life. Building a business is not easy, and it takes everything that you've got to be able to do it. Now, granted, if you if you decided that there's not necessarily a product fit for yourself, then find a different one, right? But if you're thinking about building a business because you've got something that people want to pay you money for, then you need to figure out how you're going to do that and still maintain your sanity. All right. It is tough. So take care of your mental health, make sure that you're taking regular breaks, make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your family. But just remember, this is hard, and it is always going to be hard. There's always going to be something around the corner that's gonna mess with your head, but just keep going and persevere. And if you need it, ask for help. You don't need to be a hero and be all things for all people.
You're right. It's a slog. Take care of your mental health. The one thing I seen that I like to relate is there was a leader of a band, local band called Colorado, and he has a little tattoo on his arm, inside of his arm, that just says, keep going. Just remind him when,
Mm-hmm.
you can't get out of the couch in the morning because, whatever, as a startup, your supplies didn't come in, you don't have the money to pay your bills, you don't know if you're going to be able to pay your employees at the end of the week. Like, you got to get up, you got to keep going because as soon as you put those things in motion, positivity starts happening your way. Tap your network, and you're good. It is a roller coaster, and you got to remember just to keep going.
Believe. If you
Yeah,
believe in yourself, then you can make things happen.
absolutely. So, what's next for you and TechAlliance?
It's a very good question. More of the same, really. The Elevate program officially ends in March, so they should be done the educational part by then. But I mean, the work will still continue. They still get to work with me, and we'll still do what we can to help build these businesses. Um, we've got a couple of other projects up our sleeve that I can't really disclose right now, but um, yeah, it's just more of the same. I mean, we we our sole purpose is to help businesses, right? So that's really all we're going to be doing, is trying to figure this out and making sure that what we do is going to be valuable for businesses going forward. I mentioned that Elevate, kind of, this is the first time we've ever done it, so we were going to have to go back and kind of reassess after we're done and say, okay, is this something that we can do again before we can figure out when the next cohort's going to happen. But yeah, we're gonna need to get all the stakeholders involved and figure out how we can make this happen, if it's possible to even do so.
Running these things is a lot of work.
Mhm.
And it sounds like there's a huge demand based on all your applications across the country. So I really hope you get to do it again, and you get to expand the program. And I'm happy to help in that area any way I can.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you've done so far for us and just for entrepreneurs in general. I mean, hey, you've been a big asset to us in that regard. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Where can people go and find out more?
Well, TechAlliance.ca is our website. You can find out about some of the other programs we have available, like our find out about our venture growth team, find out about our Grow Accelerator. We've got a couple of events coming up. One actually tonight, which is our annual awards show, where we are going to be giving out some awards to the best and brightest in the London area. So if you want to come check that out, the link is on our website, and the tickets, I think, are $15. I think it is, if you want to come out. It's um it's a great event. It's one of our flagships, so we're hoping that it's going to be a big success.
And the website is
TechAlliance.ca, and I cannot remember what, I think it's slash limitless, but if you just go to the TechAlliance.ca website, you'll be able to navigate your way from there.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about the Elevate Entrepreneurship Program.
Awesome. I appreciate being here. Thank you, man.
I'm just ending the stream.